Welcome to the 3 Degrees of Freedom podcast, where we explore lifestyle engineering with our expert guests to bring you in alignment with your own 3 degrees of freedom, location, time, and financial independence. All right, today we've got an amazing guest on the show. We've got Mr. Alex Tam on the show. Actually, I should say Dr. Alex Tam, correct?
Hey, either way works.
It's great to have you here, Alex. And for those who don't know, Alex is a successful entrepreneur, real estate investor, and doctor of chiropractic medicine with over 15 years of experience. He's also a dedicated husband and father, very important, and also a son, I would imagine. Alex began his career as a chiropractor and eventually became a clinical director of an integrative medicine clinic, where he also authored the book, The Truth About Chronic Pain. And he's helped many patients who have not found relief through mainstream medicine, which is awesome. That's near and dear to my heart because my wife does the same thing. Despite his passion for his work, Alex found that working over 60 hours a week was taken away from his precious time with the family and also leaving you overwhelmed. And so what you did was a drive for freedom, time. You turned to real estate investing and learned how to work more efficiently through delegation. And now he's committed to helping other entrepreneurs, particularly doctors and small business owners, to grow their businesses and invest their earnings wisely to build long-lasting wealth for families and a great lifestyle. So I'm super excited to jump right in because everything that we want to talk about on this show seems like you've already got down to a science. So I'm really excited to be able to do this.
Awesome. I'm excited to be here, Derek.
Yeah, for sure, man. So let's start off from the beginning. You're very obviously a very busy man.
As I like to call blessed.
And you've learned to scale quickly in many forms of your life, it looks like. Can you tell us where that came from? Like, did you learn that, or was that something that you've always known or grown?
I think from the scalability standpoint, it's just from the need. I remember back in college, how I supported myself through college was actually buying Sonicare toothbrushes in big packs and then reselling them on eBay. So I did Sonicare toothbrushes, diabetic strips, and Mach 3 razor blades, to the point where I eventually became a wholesaler of that. So we wholesale to mom and pop stores in the East Coast. And that we did that for 3 years. And then when I went to chiropractic school, that had to completely stop because I had zero time for that. I think it was just homegrown from the get-go.
That's really cool. So was there anything along that journey that helped you like reinforce this? Because I can see that when you were building these skills like sales, business, things like that, this must have happened like in the timeline of your life when you were in medical school, or like maybe you're getting your medical practice started. Like, how does that timeline all fit in?
Yeah, so that selling the toothbrushes and Mach 3 razor blades, that was back in college. That was in undergrad, actually, because after 2 years of undergrad, my parents could no longer afford to get a loan for college. And because of that, well, you went through 2 years, you can come back to community college, or you can't go to school, because they could no longer get a loan for the university. They were in a population where they made enough where I couldn't get any financial aid, but also not low enough or not high enough to pay for my college. So the first 2 years was just on those they call it plus loan, parent loan something. And it racked up enough in 2 years where they're like, yeah, we're done. So I said, they gave me a month. I had a month to figure it out. And I went to get a part-time job at Mervyn's back then, folding clothes, folding jeans. And then I landed a job working at a lab at the wastewater treatment plant. And I said, that's not enough. I ended up living, instead of a room, I ended up living in the living room. And then, I found a way. I found a way and made a bunch of money.
Yeah, man, congrats. There was a lot of work there, and that takes a lot of grit. And I think that maybe looking back, those must have been easier, simpler times. But I'll be honest, if I was you at that point in time, and I was you, I decided not to do that. I just took out student loans.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah,
they wouldn't loan me any student loans.
Wow.
That was the thing. The most they would loan me was $2,200 a year. And
Wow.
I didn't have enough credit to take out any student loans, and my parents couldn't do it.
Wow.
So I couldn't sell anything. I couldn't loan anything. I
Well,
didn't have enough credit to do anything.
that's crazy. I think that's just a testament to the work ethic that it takes, that the grit.
It had to be done.
Fun
We
up.
didn't know
Yeah,
how.
absolutely. Yeah, I love it, man. Very cool. Fast forward to today. I want to talk today about the 3 degrees of freedom, which is location, time, and financial. I wanted to ask you, which of these, if not all of them, do you feel that you have right now? And which one do you feel you'd like to double down on or help other people double down on?
I would say the one that I have a little bit more of is that financial one. To be able to have some passive income and active income to really exceed what our living expenses are, because we've kept our living expenses fairly low. That's where we have the most. Time is not so much. I don't have as much time as I'd like to, but that's also where that's with the virtual assistants that we have and with the office that we have. But you know what the difference is, though, Derek, is I love to do what I get to do right now. Not that I don't have extra time, but I just love doing it. If I find something I love more, will I have the time for it? Yeah, I'll make the time for it. And location is where I'm in that I got to be here type thing
Yeah.
right now. You see? So that is ideal, to be able to do something that I love to do wherever I want to do it. I would love more of that. And definitely would love more time to travel, but not so much time to do nothing. I'm not one of those people that was just, oh yeah, I love sitting at the beach sipping on a Long Island iced tea or something like that. That would drive me insane, actually.
It's really funny to me. I think that it's amazing that you've cracked the code of financial freedom, because most people, when they start out doing this, I encourage people to think about, first, get your location freedom in, which is basically getting yourself into a job where, you can work from anywhere. You can do it
Mhm.
remotely. And then I encourage people to start thinking about the time freedom after that, which is outsource sections of your job or your business that you don't necessarily need to be doing, that's administrative, that you could outsource and build processes for others. And it takes some time to build that up. And then the financial piece is what comes after you've done that for quite some time and been able to put enough away. But I have a feeling that an enterprising young man like yourself has put together so many of these businesses, because the way I hear it right now, you have a practice,
Yeah.
you have a real estate investing business. And then we were talking just before the show, and I remember we talked even before that you also have a business with your virtual assistants, correct?
Yes.
So you
Yes.
have all 3 of these things going on, plus you've got family and kids at home, correct?
Right.
So
Right.
now I can understand, why maybe the onion is flipped inside out for you, right? You get the outer layer first and then start working your way in.
Yeah.
I
Like
love.
doing it backwards.
Yeah. So what is your strategy then? If you had to say, I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but
Yeah.
since you have this financial freedom and you want to try to work on your location freedom next, or maybe your time, what do you think in terms of how you want to go about creating that for yourself? What do you think is next for you to help
Yeah.
get those?
It's really interesting because as we've created the financial freedom, the moment I have more time, I've been tend to add something else to fill up that time, which has been like, it's
Oh man,
ridiculous.
spoken like a true entrepreneur, Alex.
Oh, my
That's so
wife is,
great.
I thought we would have more time, but yet you ended up doing this. And I said, maybe that's just the way I was, the way that I was able to achieve what I've been able to achieve was because the moment you have some extra time, you've been able to delegate, boom, you can grow and scale. You can grow and think about expansion and envision that expansion. So that's that's really where my mindset is still at. I like to sit down sometimes and really jot down how many hours am I spending at home with my wife, with my daughter, and then Okay, these are the hours that they need. And then from there, how can I maximize those other hours that are just for me? Okay, 4:30 in the morning, go to the gym, at the office, 6 o'clock, boom. And then virtual assistant meeting, 6:30. Like, how do I maximize that? So for right now, it's really continue to grow the medical practice. We're definitely growing and scaling the virtual assistant practice, no doubt. And then also the real estate side as well. Am I looking to take time off any one of those? It's more like switching my time between those three, like reorganizing the time where I can tone down on the medical practice, scale up on the real estate and virtual assistant, but then finding like we're hiring more people to work inside the virtual assistant
Mhm.
company as we speak.
Great.
So we're trying to delegate in the systems. I don't feel like any of those two can run itself yet without me. The medical practice is almost there, but the other two still requires a lot of my time. That's where I'm at in the long run.
I love it, man. I love it. I think that's a great, like a logical way to think about it. And that's what came to my mind too, was it sounds like you're already great at scaling. And I know that in order to scale, you have to build systems and processes and people
Mm.
right behind you. So I feel like, maybe there's this lag lead relationship that I'm starting to learn about as well as I build my layers of freedom as well, is that systems are so dang important because they can create for you the time and the financial freedom if you set them up the right way. And so
Right.
it sounds like that's what you're focusing on right now is getting those systems in place so that you can either step away or have the dignity of choice to be able to start another business up, which I'm sure your wife would love.
Right. Oh
So I
God.
guess the key is maybe like as far as mindset goes, how do you think about that vacuum of space that you create? What are you going to do with that as far as mindset goes? Like what are you going to do you see yourself actually taking that free space that you're creating and allowing life to creep into it? Do you see yourself relaxing or what does the future look like? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I see myself finding other opportunities and activities for me, my wife, and my daughter to do. It's like we recently picked up a little bit more snowboarding, right? Of course, with all the snow, pick up something, right? So, because I didn't want her to grow up in an area where there's snow, where she will meet friends and then not know how to snowboard. My wife isn't going to bring her, so I ended up bringing her,
Yeah.
right? And we started doing more of that. And then, so it really depends. Are there going to be activities that will come in where we start traveling in different places around the world? Absolutely. Am I going to stop growing these three businesses and once they run on systems to, uh, and then stop there? I don't think I will stop there. Not so much that I mention it to my wife, hey, this is what we're going to do. But I'll tell you, when we were at the Cincinnati meetup, of course, she was there as well. And then we have breakout groups and we're just talking. And then someone mentioned to her, Helen, my gosh, Alex has so many great ideas. So eventually that message will go back to her. What did he tell you? Oh, he said we could do this and we could do that. And she's like, yeah, his mind is just nonstop. But I did tell her, I said, I know we have to hone in these three first, right? And that family time and time with my daughter is going to be, she's 10 years old. So it's going to be important right now during that time.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to ask you next, like, how does your wife like deal with all of this, or how does your family deal with you on the relentless pursuit of this financial freedom, skipping right past the time and location freedom that you
Yeah.
created? Are they pulling you in a certain direction, and how are they either helping or helping you realign your intentions here?
Yeah. So my wife and daughter, they understand what my goals are. At least my wife does. My daughter's kind of getting the hang of it. But we get to have the lifestyle that we get to have, not because I'm not achieving the things that I'm achieving, right? The places that we get to go, food, that we get to put on the table. We're very grateful of that. And to have that, they understand that I need to operate at a certain level. And I always tell my wife my goals, dreams, and aspirations. Neither of us, both of us actually, grew up in a more really lower income
Mm.
families. And from there, for her, she grew up being grown up like, hey, you just need to have a stable job, work a stable job, stable income, and you'll be good. For me, my mom and dad always argued about money, always. And to the point where I didn't even want to go home in high school because it's like, why? They're just screaming at each other for that. So I vouched never to argue with my wife about money. And we never have an argument about money. I tell her, I said, if money can fix this problem, I'm not going to argue about it. Let's just throw something at it.
Yeah, congratulations. I think that's that's admirable. And I love the fact that you're taking this matter into your own hands. And obviously you've been executing on this for quite some time. And that's how serious you are about it.
Right.
That's awesome. So let me change gears here real quick. I wanted to ask you, if people wanted to start thinking at scale like you and building up their own financial freedom, what type of advice would you give like to most people out there who are struggling with this? Or maybe they've got location freedom, but they don't have time freedom. Or maybe they have neither of those two and they're just trying to get to the financial piece. What would you say to them?
I say you got to look at when people ask me, how do you know you've achieved financial freedom? I say it really depends on what your lifestyle that you want to have is. I've achieved the financial freedom for the lifestyle that I have now. But the reason why I'm working so hard is because the lifestyle I have now is not the lifestyle I want forever. So there's two things I look at and I've done this with so many different entrepreneurs and real estate investors. I say, let's look at the life you have now. What's it cost per month? And we literally sit down in about 15 minutes. We can run the numbers and say, based on what you need to live your life right now, let's give a 20% buffer every single month. What is it that you need? Okay. And that's how you can create financial freedom right now. But now here's the thing. What type of lifestyle would you want 5 years down the line? And this is where the massive vacations come into play, the fancy cars, usually 5-10 years, right? It comes into play. And I always ask them, I said, what would it cost? Where do you want to live? What would that home mortgage cost? And then we break that number down. And then, hey, let's give it a 20% buffer. And I said, this is what, maybe a 10% even buffer. And I said, this is what you need. For me, my mentality is if money's not right, ain't nothing right. Yeah. If money's not right, that's how I grew up, at least.
Yeah.
If the money ain't right, I don't care. My parents, they were married for a long time, home, cars, stuff like that. But they didn't have their finances. So nothing else about their relationship seemed right at the time. But that's how I would dial it in. And then figure out, okay, you got this number between where you are and where you want to go. Now the question is, how are you going to get there? That's it. What could you do? What kind of problems could you solve to help you get there the quickest and fastest?
Where do you think that most people give up in that journey, or where do they struggle the most when you ask that question?
When I asked that question, most of them hadn't even thought about it. They know what their monthly expenses are, but they really don't. But they really don't. I said, let's pull it. Pull your numbers for the last few months. Let's see, what do you spend on? Oh, I spend on house, this and this. I said, what about all the random stuff you buy? They don't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because they never thought of it, they never came up with that number, that current financial freedom number. So when I crank out this current financial freedom number, they're like, wow, okay, that's what I need. How do I even, if you divide that by like whatever percentage, right? They're like, how am I even going to amass that chunk of money to be able to invest? And I said, you don't have to do it all in one shot. I said, you just got to start. And I did that to another doctor who recently joined Jake and Gino. And when I share that with him, his mindset went from, I'm good working for someone else. I'm good working for someone else, to 3 months later, he called me back. He says, Alex, I've been thinking about those numbers and I realized I got to do something on my own. I got to
Yeah.
start my own practice. There's no way I can achieve this working for somebody else. And I said, okay. I said, good. I'm glad I got you thinking.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that, man. I've had a similar experience too, where I helped inspire someone who we were talking to as friends for many years. And they had a massive house out in the very expensive part of the East Bay, like in Mount Diablo, or like actually in Lafayette, in that area. Really
Yeah,
nice,
yeah.
expensive area. And after talking with them, like we started talking about these numbers, right? And figuring out, oh my gosh, if you take that same super powerful, high hitting income and move to Walnut Creek, right? Or move to some other area that's a little bit like cheaper, you have a bigger shovel now because your expenses are lower. And as a matter of fact, Alex, that's exactly how I was able, my wife and I were able to leave the California Bay Area, and our passive
Uh-huh.
income at a certain level was at like in the Bay, it was like 12 grand or 13,000 for us to survive in the Bay
Yeah.
Area, like just my wife
Yeah.
and I.
Yeah.
And we had about $5,000 or $6,000 worth of passive income. And when we became we became locationally independent, we started traveling around the country and found out that you can do a lot of living for $4,000 to $5,000 a month in many places around the United States, right? And
Yeah.
so that's what we did. And we ended up becoming locationally, time, and financially free by doing that, by changing the locale and changing that number.
Right.
So maybe in a way, you're probably right. Maybe I did look at it from a financial independence standpoint, and then that helped create the location and the time freedom. But I
Right.
still think that all three of these things are super related to one another, because this is a lifestyle. Your time is your life, where you spend your life is your life, and how you spend your life is your life, right? So you have
Yes.
three layers, and I think they're all interrelated. And I love that you're now looking at trying to find a way to get yourself some location and time freedom as well. It's good stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very cool. I want to ask you too, can you tell us what is the long-term goal here for you? What are you looking to leave behind in this world? I know you've got a practice, you've got a virtual assistant business, or a business where you're connecting people with others to help them scale through online assistance. And then you have real estate. So there's all these different branches that you're going in, but what are you looking to ultimately leave behind with all of this work and effort that you're putting in?
It's not so much what I want to leave behind as much as I'm hoping to impact as many people as I can on a deeper level along the way in my journey. When you look at the medical practice, right, each person that we've helped and continue to help who stay on as wellness and maintenance patients, that's because we've made a huge impact on their lives. And we're doing it here. We may do it in a different location by the end of this year or early next year. Our virtual assistants, the virtual assistants are two sides, because you're impacting hugely the virtual assistants' lives
Yeah.
to giving them an opportunity to work from home, but also an opportunity for the clients that they help to scale their business at the same time. And in the medical practice now, it's not only the patients, it's also our staff members to be able to provide them and let them grow. And as long as the practice is growing, we go to 2 practices, maybe 3 later on. Our office manager is able to manage 3. Wow, her life is going to scale because of that. To the real estate side, where people who have made money, to be able to help them change their lives to be financially free. I have to talk to them about that time and location freedom, but that financial freedom. And at the end of the day, I like to teach my daughter and get her involved on how things are ran. How does business actually work, right? And it's more about just the finances. It's about the people. You got to develop people. You don't develop the people, your business doesn't grow.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And it is all about skills. And the better your people are, all of your processes and products, they get amplified, like fold, because we can think ourselves of being really smart people, but when it comes to a team or a mastermind, that's why another thing that's really important for those out there who are listening to try to find a way to get, once you have your freedom number, so to speak, try to close that gap between where you are and where you want to go. Your network is so important, because these people will help push the bounds, and the team that you have, as smart as you think that you are, 1 + 1 = 4 in that type of situation, because you can come up with ideas together that are much bigger than if you're thinking apart.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
so if you can bring that mastermind type of concept into your team and directed towards a business and a vision towards something, it's just incredible what great people can do. So I completely agree with you there. And I think that's awesome. You're starting to get your family involved into this. And I think that's really smart, because it's never too early to start doing this, right? Never too
No,
early to start selling razor blades, and
never too late. Who would have
never too
thought?
That's right. All right. Hey, Alex, this has been an awesome conversation about scale, financial freedom, and the pursuit of the location and time freedom. But what I do want to talk about now is I want to get into our rapid round. And our rapid
Mhm.
round is 4 or 5 questions that we ask every single one of our guests right here. And I'm just going to rapidly ask them to you, and you'll have about 30 seconds to answer each one. I won't
Okay,
cut you off.
let's do it. I thought you
All
were going to
right.
say 3 seconds, but 30 seconds worked well. I wasn't sure how rapid this was going to be.
Well, let's go. Let's go for it. Number 1, name any resource that was or is essential in your journey to pursue this freedom that you have right now.
I'll say that watching a lot of Grant Cardone videos and the 10X conferences I've attended to, the John Maxwell books, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, that's been huge. And also joining a real estate mastermind or group with Jake and Gino and MIH Mastermind, that has been huge as well.
Very cool. Very cool. We're going to be putting all those in the show notes. Number 2, if you woke up and your business was gone and you have only $500, a laptop, a place to live, and some food, what would you do first?
Place to live and some food and $500. The first thing I'll do is start a service-based business.
Mm,
Is service-based, there's no doubt. Whatever it may be, maybe it's VA, maybe it's something else. I will go work for someone and then go rent a space from them, or give them a percentage of everything I make.
yeah,
I'll be able to build a practice within about 6 months to a year.
brilliant. Yeah, I love this. I love this question because it really shows a lot about what you would do when you're under pressure.
Yeah.
And I love that answer, because everything that you've been talking about, the other theme I've noticed other than scale in all of this is service. You're serving so many people in a lot of different ways, including your family. And so I just love that's directly where you went to in this question. So just had to
Yeah.
point it out.
Thank you.
Awesome. Number 3, what does your self-reflection and goal setting practices look like?
I do at least once a quarter where we reflect on our yearly goals. My wife and I talk about our goals to see where we're at. And that's how we end up tracking it. But a financial goal, most people use it for business. I put my personal finance on QuickBooks. It has a complete separate company and account. So I know exactly what's going in and out in every single business and my personal life.
Very cool. So you got metrics you can look at, right?
Absolutely. You got a metrics, KPIs.
Excellent. Number 4, what are the core work habits that you attribute to most of your success right now?
Outworking other people, outworking
Mm,
other people and looking at how we can dominate the space. Because I'm not looking at competing with everybody else. I'm looking at how we can innovate, go better, faster, and with more people going in the same direction than everyone else.
sounds like scale to me, man. All
Yeah.
right. Number 4, what books do you recommend to people to help jumpstart them if they're just starting on their success journey?
That's where the 10X rule came in. That really was a mind shift for me. And don't forget the John Maxwell book, because that 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, what I have learned is if you're going to become a leader, you have to become a leader in order to be successful, because you will never, ever hire someone who's going to be able to lead better than you, because those people will never follow on.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Great advice. Love it. All right. Last question I have for you today is what tool or process has become one of the most important time, money, or energy saving ninja magic tricks that you use every single day? So I'm thinking like a software tool or a process or something that maybe you can share that you like a lot.
Wow, a process. I use Skype and Google Drive more than anything else. Only because with Skype, you can video, it records, you can share files, it works on the phone and on the computer, and then Google Drive to do everything else.
Oh yeah, Google Drive is incredible. You can collaborate with people, permissions. Yeah, there's tons of stuff you can do there.
Right. Those two, it's like I'm on it every day.
I love it, man. Very good. Alex, it's been a pleasure having you on here. I know that you're a busy guy. You have a lot of things to go do as soon as we hang up here. But before you go, why don't you tell a little bit more about how the people can reach out to you and learn more about what you have going on in the world?
Yeah. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. My cell phone is 775-717-0090. But LinkedIn and cell phone is usually the best. LinkedIn, I like LinkedIn that we can keep track of all the messages on there.
Yeah.
Take a look at our Facebook. We're always looking to help businesses scale their business through virtual assistants. And if you're thinking about one, you probably needed one 2 years ago. And then also any real estate that people like to get into, passive income. That's what we're all about. And I love to connect with more people to share how we've built the success that we've built with them.
Incredible. Alex, thank you so much for coming on the show. We love talking with you today. I learned a lot. And we're going to put all of that information for how people can reach out to you on the show notes, as well as all the social media resources that you provide to us in the production phase. So we're looking forward to sharing that and getting you connected with more folks. So thanks again for coming on the show, man. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, Derek, thank you so much.
Yes. And for you listeners, first of all, thank you so much. And wherever you're listening to this, please do like and subscribe and comment. Please engage with us, because when you do that, you appease those algorithm gods. And we want to do that so that we can get more and more exposure to more people, and we can get Alex more exposure to more individuals just like you who need to hear this message right now. So thank you for listening to this. And Alex, thank you once again for coming on.
Thank you, Derek.
All right. Talk to you guys soon.